Reports say that the U.S. and Iran could be very close to a nuclear deal. My next guest says details of this deal and some of the consequences are only now coming into focus. Here to share those findings, President of the London Center for Policy Research, Herb London. Good evening, Herb.
Pleasure to be with you.
Nice to have you here. What do we know about the negotiations that are now going on between the U.S. and Iran?
They've been going on for some time in both Vienna as well as Geneva, and there's no question that the P5+1, that is European nations, Russia, China, and the United States, have been negotiating with Iran about whether, in fact, they can have nuclear weapons.
Is it nuclear weapons, actual weapons? Is that what's being negotiated, or the enrichment that will be turned into it?
It's the enrichment that would be turned into nuclear weapons. Clearly, Iran has enough oil and energy supplies that they do not need any kind of uranium for domestic needs. The goal is having nuclear weapons, and the goal for the Iranians is, of course, trying to create an environment where the Shia crescent, or the desire to maintain control over the Middle East, is something that occurs. Keep in mind that very recently, the Iranians took over Yemen, and now they have control of both the Gulf of Hormuz as well as the Straits of the Red Sea.
Okay, so why is it in our interest, the United States, to negotiate on behalf of or with these people? And we heard last week the president's writing letters to the Ayatollah. Why?
The goal of the United States at this point is to try and use Iran as a surrogate for our forces in the Middle East. Since we won't put boots on the ground, we're hoping that in the letters that the president has written to the leader of Iran, that the Iranians will use their army to fight against ISIS. And in return, we'll be flexible on the nuclear weapons question,
okay,
or the enrichment question.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you really think that the Shiites, who supposedly don't like the Sunnis, need a concession from the United States to fight the Sunnis?
I think what they are looking for is the approval of the United States, and having the United States' legitimacy stand behind Iran that becomes a kind of stabilizer in the Middle East, which allows them to pursue their goals unrestricted by what is happening in the rest of the world. Keep in mind that the Sunni states, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Republics, as well as Kuwait and Jordan, will join together in a defense condominium because they're not going to stand for it, and the United States will not be involved. Those nations are now going to stand up to the Shia and say, you know something, we're not going to tolerate this situation. As I already indicated, if you look at what has happened in the Red Sea, the entrance to the Red Sea, now controlled by the Iranians, and you look at the Gulf of Hormuz, they are surrounding Saudi Arabia, so that if you're talking about the transport of oil, it is now within the control of the Iranians, not the Saudis any longer.
Okay, so given that, why does it benefit us? They're going to fight them anyway.
Yeah, the only benefit for us, as I indicated before, is the feckless policy of the Obama administration, which suggests that we can use Iran as a way to stabilize our interests in the Middle East. I think it's misguided. I think it's wrong-headed. I think it's feckless, as I've suggested.
All right. Herb London, always good to see you. Thanks so much.